In a sleek Seattle financial office, a successful consultant was about to open what seemed like routine mail. What started as reviewing client portfolios took a shocking turn when she came face to face with her sister's wedding invitation. Maya Thompson wasn't your typical financial advisor. For 3 years, she had spent her life hiding a devastating secret, known for her analytical precision and protective instincts. When she encountered Derek Morrison's name on elegant paper, she had no idea she was walking into a family crisis. Maya's silence that would lead to her sister's financial destruction. What began as buried shame would become explosive revelation. The Thompson family would never be the same after the truth surfaced. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Maya Thompson's fingers stilled on her keyboard as the afternoon mail landed on her desk. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows of her downtown office, Seattle's skyline stretched in sharp angles against the gray October sky. She'd built her career on reading the subtle signs others missed, the hesitation in a client's voice, the way numbers told stories their owners preferred to keep hidden. The cream-colored envelope bore her sister's familiar handwriting. Maya set aside the Henderson portfolio and reached for it, expecting another cheerful update about Emma's teaching job. Instead, the words hit her like a physical blow. Emma Thompson and Derek Morrison request your presence at their wedding ceremony. Derek Morrison. The portfolio slipped from her hand, scattering financial projections across her desk. 3 years since she'd heard that name spoken aloud, though it had lived in the shadows of every quarterly report she filed. Every time she calculated her net worth and saw that gaping hole where $300,000 used to be. ConnectFlow will revolutionize social networking, Derek had said, his eyes bright with infectious enthusiasm. It's about genuine human connection in a digital world. The memory flooded back. Derek in her apartment, laptop open on her kitchen table, animated gestures painting futures in the air. She'd watched him pace her living room, his passion filling the space like warmth, and she'd wanted to believe. The seed funding fell through, he'd said, running hands through his dark hair. But Maya, we're so close. The beta testing is incredible. She'd asked the right questions. Market analysis, competition, revenue projections. Derek had answers for everything, backed by spreadsheets and testimonials. And when he'd looked at her with those earnest brown eyes and said, I wouldn't ask if I didn't believe in this completely, she'd already made her decision. $300,000. Her savings, plus a business loan she'd personally guaranteed. It had felt like faith then. In Derek, in them, in their future together. The breakup came 6 weeks later. Not because ConnectFlow failed, that revelation would come months afterward, but because Derek had grown distant. Late nights became later nights out with, quote, potential investors. When she'd finally confronted him, he'd seemed almost relieved. I think we want different things, he'd said, standing in her doorway like a stranger. You're so focused on security, on planning everything out. The cruel irony had nearly broken her. She'd taken the biggest risk of her life for him, and he'd walked away because she wasn't risk-taking enough. By 5 o'clock, Maya had made her decision about the engagement party. She would go. She would smile and congratulate her sister, because that's what responsible older sisters did. The Thompson family home buzzed with controlled chaos. Emma practically glowed as she moved through the gathered friends and family, her left hand flashing with a diamond that caught every light. She wore pale blue, Derek's favorite color, Maya remembered with a pang. Derek held court near the fireplace, regaling men with stories that had them laughing. He looked good, better than he had any right to. Success agreed with him, apparently. Maya. His voice was carefully neutral when he approached. Could we talk? Privately? On the back patio, Derek closed the sliding door behind them. You look good, he said finally. Successful. I am successful. The words came out sharper than intended. I know this is complicated. Seeing me again. With Emma. That's one way to put it. I want you to know I never intended for this to happen. Emma and I meeting. Just coincidence that you met my sister 6 months after we broke up? Just lucky that she doesn't know about ConnectFlow or the $300,000 you never repaid? His face went pale. You haven't told her. Number? I haven't told her. Relief flooded his features. Maya, I'm going to fix this. The money situation. I'm working on something new, something huge. I'll be able to pay you back. Does she know we dated? Derek's silence was answer enough. She doesn't know anything, does she? About us, about Connect Flow, about the debt that's been sitting on my books for 3 years. I'm going to tell her, when the time is right. After what? After you've had access to her savings? How exactly does this work, Derek? He stepped closer. I love her, Maya. I love Emma in a way that I never... He stopped himself. In a way that you never loved me. Maya finished the sentence, surprised by how little it hurt. I know. Derek's shoulders sagged. I'm going to figure this out. I just need more time. As they rejoined the party, Maya watched Emma's face light up at Derek's approach. He whispered something that made her laugh, then kissed her temple with apparent tenderness. Later, Emma pulled Maya aside. I'm so glad you came tonight. Derek makes me feel safe in a way I never have before. Like nothing bad could ever happen as long as we're together. The words were a knife between Maya's ribs. Safe. Emma felt safe with a man who owed her sister $300,000 and had built their relationship on lies. Maya drove home through empty streets, her mind churning. Derek hadn't just hidden their romantic history, he'd erased it completely, rewriting their story where Maya was just Emma's successful sister, peripheral to their love. In her condo, Maya stood at her living room window, looking out at city lights stretching toward Elliott Bay. Somewhere out there, Emma was probably planning wedding details with her perfect fiancé. And Derek was probably wondering how long he could keep his world from falling apart. Maya raised her wine glass to her reflection. To perfect lives, she whispered, and the cracks that run right through the middle of them. Marcus's hand tightened on the steering wheel as they pulled into her parents' driveway the following Sunday. You sure you're ready for this? He asked, studying Maya's tense profile. She'd barely slept since the engagement party. Derek's promise to figure things out, echoing in her mind like a threat. Emma's expecting us for dinner. Mom's been planning this for weeks. The Thompson family home smelled of Patricia's signature pot roast and fresh flowers. Emma bounced toward them the moment they walked in, her engagement ring catching the entryway light. Marcus! Maya! Emma threw her arms around them both. I have so much to show you. Derek found the most amazing venue, and wait until you see the dress I'm considering. Patricia emerged from the kitchen, her smile warm but assessing as she embraced Marcus. So wonderful to see you again, dear. Maya, you look tired. Are you getting enough sleep? I'm fine, Mom. Working too hard as usual? Patricia's tone carried that familiar mix of pride and criticism. Emma, show them the venue photos while I finish the gravy. Emma spread glossy brochures across the coffee table, like tarot cards promising a golden future. The Fairmont Olympic. Can you believe it? Derek says we only get married once, so we should do it right. Maya studied the photographs of crystal chandeliers and marble floors, calculating costs. The Fairmont wasn't just expensive. It was mortgage payment expensive. How are you affording this? Derek's business is doing incredibly well. Emma's eyes sparkled. He says the new app he's developing is going to be huge. Bigger than Instagram. Robert Thompson appeared in the doorway, drink in hand. Dinner's almost ready, he said quietly, but his gaze lingered on Maya with a question she couldn't quite read. At the table, Patricia dominated the conversation with wedding planning details, while Derek's latest success story grew with each telling. Maya pushed food around her plate, aware of Marcus watching her with growing concern. Maya's been so busy with her consulting work, Patricia said, turning the spotlight toward her elder daughter. Though I keep telling her that career success is wonderful, but there's something to be said for the stability Emma's found with Derek. The barb hit its mark. Maya felt Marcus stiffen beside her. Maya's work helps people secure their financial futures, Marcus said evenly. That's pretty meaningful. Patricia waved dismissively. Of course it is. But Emma's found something more. A true partner. Someone who makes her feel cherished and protected. Emma reached across the table to squeeze Maya's hand. I want that for you too, Maya. You deserve someone who sees how amazing you are, After dinner, Marcus cornered Maya in the kitchen while she loaded the dishwasher. What the hell was that about? What? The way you shut down every time Derek's name came up. The way you looked like you were going to be sick when Emma talked about the wedding venue. His voice dropped to a whisper. Maya, what aren't you telling me? She glanced toward the living room, where Emma's laughter mixed with Derek's smooth baritone. 2 years together, and she'd never told Marcus about the loan. Never explained why Derek's name had always made her flinch. He owes me money, she said finally, the words feeling strange and inadequate. How much money? $300,000. Marcus's face went white. Jesus Christ, Maya. 300. How? When? When we were dating. Before you. He had this startup idea, needed investors. She couldn't meet his eyes. I believed in him. And you never told your family? How could I? Look at them. She gestured toward the living room where Patricia was showing Marcus wedding cake photographs. Emma's so happy. Mom finally has the perfect son-in-law she always wanted. How do I tell them it's all built on lies? Marcus ran his hands through his hair. Maya, this is fraud. If he's marrying Emma without disclosing this debt, if he's misrepresenting his financial situation, keep your voice down. You have legal recourse. You should have had legal recourse 3 years ago. And destroy Emma's happiness? Tear apart my family? What about your happiness? Your financial security? Marcus's frustration was palpable. Maya, you're talking about $300,000. That's not pocket change. That's enough to pay for a wedding at the Fairmont Olympic. Maya finished quietly. They stared at each other across the kitchen, the weight of unspoken implications settling between them like dust. From the living room came Emma's voice. Marcus, Maya, come look at these bridesmaid dress options. Maya dried her hands on the dish towel, avoiding Marcus's gaze. We should go look at the dresses. Maya, please, not tonight. But as they rejoined the family, Maya caught her father's eye. Robert was watching her with the same expression she'd seen him wear when reviewing problematic accounts, the look of someone who'd spotted irregularities in the numbers and was waiting for the right moment to ask uncomfortable questions. Maya was reviewing client portfolios when her assistant buzzed through. Derek Morrison on line 2. Her blood chilled. Derek had never called her office. Tell him I'm in meetings all day. He says it's urgent. About Emma. Maya's hand hovered over the phone. Put him through. Maya, thank God. Derek's voice was tight with barely controlled panic. We need to talk. In person. I have nothing to say to you. It's about the wedding. About Emma. Please, can you meet me at Pike Place Market? 20 minutes? Something in his tone made her stomach clench. What's wrong with Emma? She's fine. But Maya, there are some things. Some complications I need to explain. She found him at their old coffee spot near the fish market, hunched over a cup he clearly hadn't touched. He looked older than he had at the engagement party, worry lines etched around his eyes. Thank you for coming. He gestured to the chair across from him. I know this is awkward. Cut to the chase, Derek. What do you want? He glanced around the crowded market, then leaned forward. I need more time. Time for what? To pay you back. I know I said I'd figure it out, but the new app development is taking longer than expected. The investors I was counting on. There are no investors, are there? Maya kept her voice level despite the fury building in her chest. Just like there were no real investors for ConnectFlow. Derek's face crumpled. There were investors. Real ones. But the deal fell through last week. The funding I was counting on to pay you back. It's gone. Maya studied his face, looking for tells. The slight tremor in his hands. The way he avoided eye contact when he mentioned the investors. How much deeper are you in, Derek? What do you mean? Credit cards. Personal loans. However, you've been maintaining this lifestyle with Emma. She leaned back in her chair. Because there's no way you're paying for a Fairmont Olympic wedding on a teacher's salary. Derek's silence was answer enough. Jesus, Derek. How much? It's manageable. I just need... How much? 80,000. Maybe 90. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. On top of what you owe me? It's not as bad as it sounds. The credit cards, they're mostly promotional rates. And I've got leads on some consulting work that could... You're lying. The words came out flat and certain. You're lying to me. You're lying to Emma. And you're lying to yourself. Derek's composure finally cracked. What choice do I have? If Emma finds out about the debt, about our history, she'll leave me. And Maya, I love her. I know you don't believe that, but I do. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Then tell her the truth. I can't. You don't understand what she means to me. I understand perfectly. Maya stood, slinging her purse over her shoulder. She means enough to you that you'll destroy her financially rather than lose her emotionally. Maya, wait! Derek grabbed her wrist. Please, I'm begging you. Just don't tell her about the loan. Not yet. Give me 6 months to sort this out. She pulled free of his grip. And what happens in 6 months when you still can't pay? What happens when Emma's name is on a mortgage with yours? When her credit is tied to your lies? It won't come to that. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Maya, emergency bridesmaid question. Can you meet me at the bridal shop after work? I need your opinion on everything. Derek noticed her reading the message. She asked you to be her maid of honor, didn't she? Maya's throat tightened. Yesterday. And you said yes. Of course I said yes. She's my sister. Derek leaned forward desperately. Then you understand. You can't destroy her happiness. Not when she's this excited, this in love. Maya, she talks about you constantly. About how proud she is of her successful big sister. How she hopes she can build something as stable as what you have. The words hit like physical blows. Maya thought of Emma's trusting eyes, her joy at having Maya as maid of honor, her excitement about building a future with Derek. 6 months, Derek pressed. That's all I'm asking for. 6 months to make this right. Maya looked at him. Really looked at him. She saw the desperation, yes, but also something else. The same charm that had convinced her to invest her life savings, now being weaponized against her love for Emma. You're never going to pay me back, are you? She said quietly. This isn't about timing or investors or market conditions. You never intended to pay me back. Derek's silence stretched between them like a chasm. Maya turned and walked away, leaving him at the table with his untouched coffee and his mountain of lies. But even as she pushed through the market crowds, Emma's text burned in her phone like an accusation. Her sister was waiting for her opinions on wedding dresses, trusting her judgment, excited to share this moment. And Maya was walking toward that bridal shop, carrying the knowledge that could destroy everything Emma believed about her future. The bridal boutique smelled of champagne and dreams deferred. Maya arrived to find Emma surrounded by yards of silk and tulle, her face glowing with the kind of happiness that made Maya's chest ache. Maya, perfect timing. Emma gestured to 3 gowns hanging like ghosts of futures past. I've narrowed it down, but I'm completely paralyzed. They're all so beautiful. The sales associate, a woman whose smile was as polished as her manicure, guided Emma toward the fitting room. Maya settled into a velvet chair, watching her sister disappear behind curtains that cost more than most people's rent. So, Emma's voice floated over the dressing room door. Derek told me you two ran into each other at Pike Place yesterday. What a funny coincidence. Maya's blood turned to ice. Coincidence? He was meeting with some investor guy about the new app. Saw you at that coffee place you used to love. Emma emerged in the first dress, a princess-style gown that transformed her into a fairy tale. He said you looked stressed. Work stuff? The lie came so easily to Derek, Maya realized. Layers upon layers of deception, each one supporting the next like a house of cards. Something like that. Maya forced a smile. That dress is stunning on you. For the next hour, Maya played her part. She admired each gown, offered opinions on veils and accessories, and listened to Emma's excited chatter about honeymoon plans and the apartment they'd found in Queen Anne. "The rent's a bit steep," Emma admitted, smoothing the skirt of the second dress. "But Derek says once the app launches, money won't be an issue. He's so confident about it, Maya. It's inspiring." Maya's phone buzzed. "A text from Sophia Mitchell? Coffee tomorrow? Need to talk to you about something. It's about Emma." "Who's that?" Emma asked, noticing Maya's frown. "Sophia. She wants to get coffee." Emma's face lit up. "Oh, good. I was hoping you two would get to know each other better. She's been my rock through all this wedding planning, though she's been a bit weird lately. Asking strange questions about Derek, about our finances. I think she's just being protective." Maya's stomach dropped. Sophia worked at First National Bank. If she was asking questions about Derek's finances, what kind of questions? "Oh, you know Sophia, she's so practical. Wants to make sure I'm not getting in over my head financially. I told her Derek's got everything under control, but you know how bank people are about risk assessment." The third dress was perfect, elegant, timeless, expensive. Emma looked like a bride in a magazine, all glowing skin and hopeful eyes. "This is it," Emma breathed, turning to see herself from every angle. "This is the one. Derek's going to die when he sees me in this." Maya managed to make the appropriate sounds of approval, but her mind was spinning. Sophia's questions, Derek's mounting desperation, Emma's complete trust in her fiancé's financial stability. It felt like watching a slow-motion car crash. "Maya," Emma's voice cut through her thoughts. "You okay? You look pale." "Just tired. Long week." Emma studied her reflection one more time, then turned to face Maya directly. "Can I ask you something? And I want you to be honest." Maya's heart stopped. "Of course. Do you like Derek? I mean, really like him? Because sometimes I feel like you're holding back, like there's something you're not saying." The moment stretched between them like a tightrope. Maya could feel the weight of 3 years' worth of secrets pressing down on her chest. "I want you to be happy," Maya said finally. "That's all I've ever wanted." Emma's smile was radiant. "That's not what I asked." Before Maya could respond, her phone rang. Marcus's name on the screen felt like a lifeline. "I should take this." "Marcus?" Maya stepped outside the boutique, grateful for the cool air. "Maya, we need to talk. Tonight. I've been doing some research on Derek Morrison, and what I found." His voice was grim. "How soon can you get to my office?" Maya glanced back through the boutique window. Emma was posing in front of the three-way mirror, lost in bridal dreams. "Give me an hour." Marcus's law office felt cold and sterile after the boutique's warmth. He'd spread documents across his conference table like evidence in a trial. "Sit down," he said, without preamble. "What I'm about to show you is going to be hard to hear." The first document was a credit report. Derek's name at the top, followed by a sea of red numbers that made Maya's financial training scream warnings. "He's not just in debt, Maya. He's drowning. Credit cards maxed out, personal loans in default, and look at this." Marcus pointed to a line item. He took out a loan against Emma's car. Her car, Maya, without telling her. Maya's hands shook as she flipped through the pages. Each document painted a picture of a man in financial freefall, using increasingly desperate measures to maintain his facade. "There's more." Marcus pulled out another folder. ConnectFlow wasn't just a failure. Derek was investigated for fraud. The SEC dropped the case due to insufficient evidence, but Maya, he was taking investor money and using it for personal expenses. "Oh God, he's done this before. Not just with you. There were at least 3 other investors who lost money. Smaller amounts, but still." Maya sank into her chair, the full scope of Derek's deception washing over her like ice water. "He's a professional con man," Marcus continued. "And Emma is his next mark. Maya, you have to tell her. Tonight." Through the conference room window, Seattle's lights twinkled like stars, beautiful and distant. Somewhere out there, Emma was probably showing her parents photos of her perfect wedding dress, planning a future built on lies that were about to collapse around her. "I can't," Maya whispered. "I can't destroy her like this." "Then Derek will destroy her for you." "Maya, look at these numbers. Look at what he's already done in Emma's name." Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. "You're not protecting her by staying silent. You're enabling him." Maya stared at the documents until the numbers blurred together. $300,000. That's where this all started. $300,000 that had bought Derek 3 years of freedom to hurt someone else. And now that someone else was her baby sister. Maya was still staring at Derek's credit report when her father called. "Maya? I hope I'm not interrupting anything important, but I wondered if we could have lunch tomorrow. Just the two of us." Robert Thompson's voice carried an unusual weight, the careful tone he used when discussing problematic accounts with clients. "Is everything okay, Dad? There are some things I'd like to discuss. About the wedding. About Derek's business ventures." Maya's grip tightened on the phone. "What about them? Let's talk tomorrow. Noon at Elliott's? I'll make a reservation." After he hung up, Maya stared at Marcus across the conference table. "My father wants to talk about Derek's business ventures. How much does he know? Dad's an accountant. He notices things." Maya rubbed her temples. "If he's asking questions, then Derek's time is running out regardless of what you decide." Elliott Oyster House was crowded with the lunch rush, but Robert had secured a quiet corner table. He looked older than Maya remembered, worry lines etched deeper around his eyes. "Thank you for meeting me," he said, stirring his coffee absently. "I know you're busy." "Dad, what's this about?" Robert was quiet for a long moment, studying her face. "Your mother thinks I'm being paranoid, but I've been in this business for 30 years. I know what financial stress looks like." Maya's heart began to race. "Financial stress? Derek Morrison." Robert leaned forward. "Maya, I've been watching him at these family dinners. The way he checks his phone constantly. How he flinches when Emma mentions wedding expenses. And yesterday I saw him arguing with someone outside the bank. Heated conversation, lots of gesturing." Maya tried to keep her expression neutral. Maybe it was work-related. Maybe. Robert's tone suggested he didn't believe it. But I also did some checking. Derek's startup, ConnectFlow, it failed spectacularly 3 years ago. Investors lost everything. The restaurant noise faded to a dull roar. "How do you know about ConnectFlow?" "I looked him up. Call it paternal instinct, but something felt off." Robert leaned back in his chair. "Maya, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. Do you know Derek Morrison from before he started dating Emma?" The question hung between them like a sword. Maya could feel her father's accountant mind working, connecting dots she'd hoped would remain scattered. "Why would you ask that?" "Because at the engagement party I watched you both very carefully. The way you avoided each other, the way he couldn't look at you directly. That's not how strangers behave." Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "Emergency. Derek's acting super weird. Can you come over? I'm scared something's wrong." Robert noticed her expression change. "What is it?" "Emma." Maya showed him the text. "She says Derek's acting strange." Robert's face darkened. "Maya, whatever's going on between you and Derek Morrison, Emma's in the middle of it now. And if I'm right about his financial situation." Before Maya could respond, her phone rang. Emma's name on the screen. "Maya?" Emma's voice was shaky. "Can you come over right now? Derek left an hour ago, and he was upset about something. Really upset. And there were these men here earlier, looking for him." "What men?" Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. "I don't know. They said they were from some collection agency, but Derek told me he doesn't owe anyone money. Maya, I'm confused and scared, and I don't know who else to call." Maya looked at her father, who had heard enough to understand the gravity of the situation. "We're on our way. Maya said. They found Emma in her apartment, still in her work clothes, pacing the living room like a caged animal. Her face was blotchy from crying, and she clutched a handful of papers like they might contain answers. "Thank God you're here," Emma said, throwing her arms around Maya. "I don't understand what's happening." Robert studied the papers Emma handed him, his expression growing grimmer with each page. "Emma, honey," he said gently, "these are notices from creditors. Derek owes money to several different companies." "But that's impossible. Derek told me his credit is perfect. He said we'd have no problem getting approved for the mortgage on the house we wanted." Maya felt sick. "What house?" "The one in Magnolia. Derek said his business income qualified us for a jumbo loan. We were supposed to sign papers next week." Emma's voice cracked. "Maya, I don't understand any of this financial stuff. I trusted him to handle it." Robert continued reading, his face growing paler. "Emma, these amounts. Did you co-sign any loans with Derek? Any credit applications?" "Just the one for the wedding expenses. He said it was easier to get approved as a couple." Emma looked between Maya and Robert. "Why? Is that bad?" Maya and Robert exchanged glances. The wedding loan meant Emma was already legally tied to Derek's financial disaster. "Where is Derek now?" Maya asked. "I don't know. After those men left, he got a phone call that made him go completely white. Then he just grabbed his keys and said he had to take care of something. That was 3 hours ago." Maya's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Tell your sister she deserves better than lies. Some secrets are too big to hide." The message made her blood run cold. Someone else knew about Derek's situation, and they were targeting Emma. "Emma," Maya said carefully, "has anyone else been asking questions about Derek lately? Friends, co-workers, anyone?" "Just Sophia, but she's always protective." Emma wiped her eyes. "Maya, you have to tell me what's going on. I can see it in your face. You know something about Derek, don't you?" The moment Maya had been dreading for months was finally here. Her father was watching her with knowing eyes. Emma was looking at her with desperate trust. And somewhere out there, Derek was presumably dealing with consequences that would soon crash down on all of them. Maya's phone rang again. This time it was Sophia. "Maya, thank God. Is Emma with you? Because Derek Morrison just showed up at my bank trying to cash a check that's going to bounce higher than the Space Needle. And when I refused to process it, he mentioned Emma's name in ways that made me very uncomfortable." Emma was watching Maya's face, reading the fear there. "Maya," Emma whispered, "please, just tell me the truth." The web Derek had spent 3 years weaving was finally tightening around all of them, and Maya realized that her silence hadn't protected Emma at all. It had only given Derek more time to make the eventual crash even more devastating. Outside Emma's apartment window, Seattle's afternoon light was fading into dusk, and Maya knew that by morning, nothing in their family would ever be the same again. Maya stared at her laptop screen, the forged signature unmistakably hers but written in Derek's careful hand. The document bore yesterday's date, a loan application for $150,000, with Maya Thompson listed as co-applicant and guarantor. Her hands shook as she scrolled through the email attachment Marcus had forwarded from his investigator. Derek hadn't just stolen her signature. He'd used her credit score, her income information, her reputation to secure funding for another phantom business venture. This wasn't debt anymore. This was crime. Maya grabbed her keys and drove to Derek's office building, her fury building with each red light. She found him in the parking garage, sitting in his BMW with his head in his hands. "Get out of the car," she said, rapping on his window. Derek looked up, his face gaunt with exhaustion. "Maya! Get out of the fucking car, Derek." He emerged slowly, like a man walking to his execution. "You found out about the application. You forged my signature. You used my information to secure a loan without my knowledge or consent. That's not just fraud, Derek. That's identity theft. I was desperate. You've been desperate for 3 years. That doesn't give you the right to commit felonies in my name." Derek leaned against his car, suddenly looking much older than his 34 years. The collection agencies are circling Maya. The wedding venue wants full payment by Friday or they'll cancel. Emma's parents are asking questions I can't answer. I'm drowning. Then tell Emma the truth. I can't. You don't understand. She's not like you. She's not strong enough to handle this kind of betrayal. Maya stepped closer, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. I'm giving you one choice, Derek. Tell Emma everything. About us, about the debt, about what you've been doing, or I will. You have until Friday. Maya, please. Number more, please. No more time, no more bullshit promises about figuring it out. Her voice cracked with 3 years of suppressed rage. You tell her, or I destroy you. Legally, financially, completely. Your choice. Derek's face crumpled. After the wedding, after the honeymoon. Give me just before the wedding, Derek. Before you trap her in a marriage built on lies. Before you ruin her credit the way you've tried to ruin mine. And if I don't? Maya pulled out her phone and showed him Marcus's number. My boyfriend is a divorce attorney, with connections to every prosecutor in King County. What do you think happens when they see evidence of identity theft and fraud? Derek stared at the phone, then at Maya's implacable expression. You'd really do it. You'd really destroy Emma's happiness to get your money back. This isn't about money anymore. This is about protecting my sister from a man who's going to destroy her life. I love her. You love what she represents. Security. Innocence. Someone who won't ask the hard questions. Maya pocketed her phone. But she deserves the truth, even if it breaks her heart. Derek was quiet for a long moment, studying her face. You know, I used to think you were the problem. Too cautious, too focused on the details. But you saw through me from the beginning, didn't you? Not soon enough. Emma doesn't see it yet, but she will. The questions, the doubt. It's already starting. She asked me yesterday why I seem so stressed about wedding expenses if my business is doing so well. Maya's stomach tightened. What did you tell her? That all entrepreneurs worry about cash flow. But she's not stupid, Maya. She's going to figure it out eventually. Then make it easy on both of you. Tell her yourself. Derek pushed off from his car, straightening his shoulders. And if I do? If I confess everything? What happens to us then? There is no us, Derek. There hasn't been for 3 years. I meant Emma and me. Maya looked at him, really looked at him, and saw something she hadn't expected. Genuine fear. Not of financial ruin or legal consequences, but of losing Emma. Maybe he did love her, in his own broken way. I don't know, Maya said honestly. But she's stronger than you think, stronger than you've given her credit for. As Maya drove away, leaving Derek alone in the parking garage, her phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Family dinner tomorrow night. Mom's making your favorite lasagna. Derek seems better today. Whatever was bothering him must be resolved. Can't wait to celebrate with everyone. Maya stared at the message, her ultimatum hanging over all of them like a sword. Tomorrow was Thursday. Friday was Derek's deadline. And Emma had no idea that her entire world was about to implode. But as Maya pulled into her driveway, she felt something she hadn't experienced in 3 years. Relief. The secret that had been eating her alive was finally going to surface. Whatever happened next, at least the lies would stop. Her phone rang as she walked to her front door. Derek's name on the screen. Maya, I need you to know, whatever happens tomorrow, whatever I tell Emma, I never meant for any of this to hurt you. Or her. I know, Maya said, surprised to find she meant it. I'm going to tell her. Tomorrow night, after dinner. I'm going to tell her everything. Maya closed her eyes, leaning against her front door. Derek? Yeah? Don't make me regret trusting you with this. The line went quiet for a moment. You're not the one who should regret trusting me, Maya. I am. Maya woke up Friday morning to 17 missed calls from Emma. The first voicemail was excited. Maya, Derek didn't come home last night, but he left the sweetest note saying he had to take care of some business and he'd explain everything at dinner. I think he's planning a surprise. By the fourth message, Emma's tone had shifted. Maya, it's noon and Derek's still not answering his phone. His office says he never came in. I'm starting to worry. The final message, left at 2 a.m., was barely coherent through tears. Maya, please call me back. Something's wrong. Derek's gone, and there are men at my apartment asking about him. I don't know what to do. Maya called back immediately, but Emma's phone went straight to voicemail. She tried the apartment landline. No answer. Panic rising, Maya threw on clothes and drove to Emma's building. She found Sophia in the lobby, pacing like a caged animal. Thank God, Sophia said, grabbing Maya's arm. Emma's upstairs, but she's not okay. Maya, what the hell is going on? Who is Derek Morrison really? What do you mean? I mean, the man Emma's been planning to marry doesn't exist. The Derek Morrison in my bank's system has a credit score of 430 and outstanding warrants for check fraud. Sophia's eyes were blazing. So either my best friend is marrying an identity thief, or she's been lied to about everything. Maya's stomach dropped. Warrants? Issued yesterday afternoon. Maya, Emma called me crying at midnight because 2 federal marshals showed up at her door looking for her fiancé. What aren't you telling me? Before Maya could answer, Emma appeared in the stairwell, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her engagement ring was gone, Maya noticed. Her left hand looked naked and pale. Maya. Emma's voice was hoarse. I know you're going to lie to me. Everyone's been lying to me. But I need you to look me in the eye and tell me you don't know Derek from before he started dating me. The question Maya had been dreading for months hung in the air like poison gas. Emma. Yes or no, Maya? Did you know Derek Morrison before he started dating me? Maya looked at her sister's ravaged face, at Sophia's protective fury, at the remnants of Emma's fairy tale life scattered around them like broken glass. Yes. Emma's face crumpled. How long? We dated for 8 months. 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Right before he met me. Emma, I wanted to tell you. But you didn't. Emma's grief was transforming into something harder, more dangerous. You let me fall in love with him. You let me plan a wedding with him. You were going to be my maid of honor at a ceremony where I married your ex-boyfriend. And you said nothing. Maya reached for her sister, but Emma stepped back. There's more, isn't there? Emma's voice was getting stronger, more certain. The way you've been acting, the way Derek's been acting. This isn't just about you two having a history. Sophia stepped forward. Emma, maybe we should sit down. No. Emma's eyes never left Maya's face. I want to hear it standing up, all of it. Maya took a deep breath. He owes me money. A lot of money. How much? $300,000. The number hit Emma like a physical blow. She actually staggered backward. 300. Emma's voice trailed off. The wedding venue costs $30,000. Our apartment deposit was $5,000. Derek said money wasn't an issue because his business was doing so well, but he owes you. She stopped, her face going white. Oh my God. The loan I co-signed. The wedding expenses we put on credit. Maya, am I liable for what he owes you too? Number, that debt is separate. But there is other debt, isn't there? Debt with my name on it. Maya's silence was answer enough. Emma sank onto the lobby couch, her head in her hands. How much? We're not sure yet. Marcus is working with investigators to untangle. How much, Maya? Maybe 90,000? Maybe more? Emma was quiet for so long that Maya wondered if she'd heard. When she finally looked up, her eyes held a cold fury Maya had never seen before. You let me sign papers I didn't understand. You watched me take on debt for a man who was lying about everything. You let me fall in love with someone who was using me. Emma stood up slowly. And you did it all to protect me? Emma, I was trying. You were trying to protect yourself, your reputation, your relationship with the family, your perfect image as the responsible older sister. Emma's voice was getting louder. Well, congratulations, Maya. Your secret is safe. But my life is destroyed. Marcus appeared in the lobby doorway, his face grim. Maya, we need to talk. All of us. He was carrying a folder thick with documents. Maya recognized the look on his face. It was the expression he wore when delivering bad news to clients. Derek Morrison was arrested this morning at SeaTac Airport, Marcus said without preamble. He was trying to board a flight to Costa Rica with $50,000 in cash and documents showing he'd cleaned out several accounts yesterday. Emma made a sound like she'd been punched in the stomach. Including, Marcus continued, a joint account he opened with Emma last month. Emma, he took $18,000 that belonged to you. The lobby was silent, except for the sound of Emma's ragged breathing. So he's gone, Emma said finally. He took my money and ran. He's in federal custody, Marcus corrected. The FBI has been building a case against him for months. Maya, the $300,000 he owes you? You're victim number 12. They've identified at least 15 other people he defrauded over the past 5 years. Maya felt the world tilting sideways. 15. This was never about a failed startup or bad luck. Derek Morrison is a career con artist. And Emma, you were his biggest score yet. Emma stood up abruptly. I need air. She walked outside, leaving Maya and Marcus and Sophia staring after her. Through the lobby windows, they watched Emma pace the sidewalk, her hands pressed to her mouth like she was trying to hold in a scream. How bad is it? Maya asked quietly. Marcus opened his folder. For Emma. She's looking at about $120,000 in debt she didn't know she'd taken on. For you? The FBI wants your testimony, but you'll probably recover most of your money when they seize Derek's assets. And for our family? Marcus closed the folder. That depends on whether Emma can forgive you for keeping this secret for so long. Through the window, they watched Emma pull out her phone and make a call. When she came back inside, her face was composed but cold. I called Mom and Dad, she said to Maya. I told them Derek and I broke up, and I needed to come home for a while. I didn't tell them why. Emma picked up her purse from the couch. But I will. Tonight, at dinner, I'm going to tell them everything. Maya felt her blood turn to ice. Emma. Everything, Maya. About Derek being your ex. About the money. About the lies and the fraud and the debt. Emma headed toward the elevator. You wanted the truth to come out? Congratulations. It's about to. The elevator doors closed on Emma's devastated face, leaving Maya alone in the lobby, with the wreckage of 3 years' worth of secrets finally exposed to the light. The Thompson family dining room had never felt smaller. Maya sat across from Emma, their parents flanking the table like judges at a tribunal. Emma had called this family meeting an hour ago, her voice hollow but determined on the phone. I need everyone together tonight. There are things you need to know about Derek. About Maya. About everything. Patricia had spent the afternoon preparing Emma's comfort foods, clearly assuming this was about wedding jitters or cold feet. The dining room table groaned under the weight of Emma's favorite lasagna, garlic bread, and chocolate cake. Foods meant to heal minor heartbreaks, not catastrophic betrayals. So, Patricia said, settling into her chair with the satisfied air of someone who'd solved the problem before hearing it. Pre-wedding nerves are completely normal, sweetheart. Your father and I had a terrible fight 3 days before our wedding. Remember, Robert? Robert nodded absently, but Maya noticed he was watching Emma with the careful attention he usually reserved for problematic financial statements. Emma sat rigidly upright, her hands folded in her lap. She'd removed every trace of Derek from her appearance. No engagement ring, no photos on her phone visible on the table, nothing to suggest she'd spent the last year planning a future with someone. This isn't about nerves, Mom. Emma's voice was steady, but Maya could see the tremor in her hands. Derek and I aren't getting married. Patricia's fork paused halfway to her mouth. What do you mean, not getting married? Honey, whatever argument you had. We didn't have an argument. Derek is in federal custody. The words dropped into the dining room like grenades. Patricia's fork clattered against her plate. Robert went very still. Custody? Patricia's voice was barely a whisper. Emma, what are you talking about? Emma looked directly at Maya. Maybe you should ask your other daughter. She's known Derek a lot longer than I have. Maya felt every eye in the room turn toward her. The moment she'd been dreading for 3 years had finally arrived, and it was somehow both exactly what she'd expected and nothing like she'd prepared for. "Emma," Maya started, but her sister cut her off. "No, you've had 3 years to tell them the truth. It's my turn now." Emma turned to their parents. "Derek Morrison is Maya's ex-boyfriend. They dated for 8 months, 3 years ago. And during that time, she loaned him $300,000 that he never repaid." The silence stretched like a taut wire. Patricia looked back and forth between her daughters as if they were speaking a foreign language. "That's impossible," Patricia said finally. "Maya, tell her that's impossible." Maya met her mother's eyes. "It's not impossible. It's true." Patricia's face went white. "You dated Emma's fiancé?" "Former fiancé," Emma corrected bitterly. "And yes, she did. For 8 months. And when he asked her for money to fund his startup, she gave him $300,000 of her own money, plus a business loan she personally guaranteed." Robert leaned forward, his accountant mind clearly working. "Maya, is this true?" "Yes." "And you never told us?" Maya's throat felt like sandpaper. "I didn't know he was going to start dating Emma. When they met, I thought about saying something, but Emma was so happy, and I thought..." "You thought what?" Emma's voice was rising. "That you'd just keep it secret forever? That I'd never find out I was marrying a man who owed my sister a fortune?" Patricia was shaking her head slowly. "I don't understand. Maya, how could you not tell us? How could you let Emma fall in love with someone who..." "Who what, Mom?" Emma interrupted. "Who's a con artist? Who's been running financial scams for 5 years? Who cleaned out my bank account yesterday and tried to flee the country?" The additional revelations hit like aftershocks. Robert's face had gone ashen. "Emma," he said carefully, "what do you mean, he cleaned out your account?" "I mean Derek Morrison, whose real name we're not even sure of, stole $18,000 from me yesterday. Money I'd saved for our honeymoon. Money I'd set aside for our future. He also took out loans in my name totaling about $120,000 that I knew nothing about." Patricia made a strangled sound. $120,000. "Emma, honey, how is that possible?" "Because I trusted him. Because I signed papers he told me were routine. Because I believed him when he said his business was thriving." Emma's composure was starting to crack. "Because my own sister watched me do all of this and said nothing." Maya found her voice. "Emma, I was trying to protect you." "Protect me?" Emma laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. "Maya, I'm $120,000 in debt to creditors I've never heard of. My credit is destroyed. The man I thought I loved is a federal criminal. How exactly did your silence protect me?" Patricia turned to Maya with an expression of bewilderment and growing anger. "Maya Elizabeth Thompson, how could you keep something like this from us? From Emma?" "Because I was embarrassed," Maya said, the words tumbling out. "Because I felt stupid for falling for his lies. Because I knew you'd all think I was an idiot for lending money to a boyfriend. So instead, you let Emma be the idiot?" Emma's voice was getting louder. "You let me be the one to fall for his lies? I didn't know he was lying to you two. I thought..." "You thought what? That he'd suddenly become honest? That a man who stole $300,000 from you would be trustworthy with me?" Robert cleared his throat, his voice carefully controlled. "Maya, the business loan you mentioned, the one you personally guaranteed. What's the status of that debt?" Maya looked at her father, seeing the professional concern behind his gentle question. "It's been in default for 2 years. The bank has been working with me on a payment plan, but Derek's arrest changes things," Robert finished. "Maya, if he's convicted of fraud, that loan becomes immediately callable. The full amount." The reality of her situation was sinking in. Maya nodded slowly. "How much?" Patricia asked quietly. "With interest and penalties?" "About $400,000. Patricia gasped. Emma just stared at her sister with something approaching hatred. "So let me understand this," Emma said, her voice deadly calm. "You're out $400,000. I'm out $120,000. Our family's reputation is destroyed. And all of this could have been prevented if you'd just told the truth 3 years ago. Maya opened her mouth to respond, but Emma wasn't finished. Do you know what the worst part is, Maya? It's not the money. It's not even the lies. It's that you watched me plan a wedding, watched me talk about children and mortgages and growing old with this man, and you let me believe in a future that was never real. Tears were streaming down Emma's face now, but her voice remained steady. I asked you to be my maid of honor. I wanted you standing next to me when I married the man who destroyed your life. And you said yes. The accusation hung in the air like smoke. Maya realized that this was the real crime. Not the money, not even the deception, but the theft of Emma's dreams. Emma, I never wanted any of this to happen to you. But you let it happen anyway. Emma stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. You all let it happen. Dad, you suspected something was wrong with Derek's finances, but you didn't push. Mom, you were so excited about having the perfect son-in-law that you didn't ask hard questions. And Maya, Emma looked at her sister with an expression of profound disappointment. You had the power to stop this, and you chose not to. Emma walked toward the doorway, then paused. Derek's preliminary hearing is next week. The FBI wants to interview all of us. They'll probably want to know why no one in the family thought to warn the victim that her fiancé was a known con artist. She looked back at Maya one more time. I guess we'll all have to figure out how to answer that question. The front door slammed, leaving the 3 remaining family members sitting in stunned silence among the ruins of their carefully prepared dinner and their carefully constructed family harmony. 3 days after the dinner from hell, Maya stood in her parents' living room, helping Patricia box up Emma's abandoned wedding presents. The silence between them was deafening, broken only by the rustle of tissue paper and the thud of crystal vases being wrapped like evidence. Emma had moved in with Sophia temporarily, refusing to speak to any of them. The wedding venue had been canceled. The dress hung in Emma's childhood closet like a ghost of futures past. She'll forgive us eventually, Patricia said, though her voice lacked conviction. She held up a set of china that would never grace Emma's dining room table. This is just shock once she processes everything. Mom, stop. Maya took the china from her mother's trembling hands. Emma has every right to be furious. We failed her. Patricia sank into Robert's armchair, looking older than Maya had ever seen her. I keep thinking about all the signs I missed. The way Derek never talked about his family, how he always seemed to deflect questions about his work. I was so busy being happy that Emma had found someone. We all missed the signs. Maya continued wrapping gifts, each one a reminder of the future Emma had lost. Or, we ignored them. The doorbell rang. Through the window, Maya saw Marcus on the front steps, carrying a folder that likely contained more bad news. The FBI finished their preliminary investigation, Marcus said without preamble once he was seated in the living room. Derek Morrison isn't even his real name. He's actually David Morrell, and he's been running cons under various identities for 7 years. Patricia made us sound like she'd been slapped. 7 years? There are at least 23 victims across 4 states. Maya, you were one of his first major scores, but Emma was supposed to be his retirement plan. He was planning to drain her accounts, max out credit in her name, then disappear. Maya felt sick, but he was arrested before he could finish destroying Emma's financial life. Yes, she's still looking at significant debt, but it could have been much worse. How much worse? Patricia asked quietly. Marcus consulted his notes. Derek had applications pending for a $500,000 business loan with Emma as co-signer, a $300,000 mortgage using forged income documents, and he'd already gained access to her retirement account. If he'd had another month, he would have destroyed her completely, Maya finished. The good news is that as victims of fraud, both you and Emma should be able to recover most of the money eventually. Derek had assets hidden under various names, real estate, offshore accounts. The FBI is seizing everything. Patricia looked up hopefully. So Emma won't lose everything? The debt is still real until the courts sort it out, which could take years. But eventually, yes, she should recover most of it. Marcus paused. However, her credit is destroyed, and she'll need to file bankruptcy to protect herself from the creditors. Maya closed her eyes. Emma, who'd always been so proud of her financial independence, would have to declare bankruptcy at 28 because of Maya's secret. There's something else, Marcus continued. The FBI wants to know why no one in Emma's family warned her about Derek's history with Maya. They're trying to determine if there was a conspiracy to defraud. A conspiracy? Patricia's voice was sharp. We're victims too. I know that, and you know that. But from the outside, it looks suspicious. Maya dates Derek, loans him money, he disappears, then shows up dating Maya's sister, and no one says anything. Maya felt the walls closing in. They think I was in on it? They're exploring all possibilities. Maya, you need your own attorney. Someone separate from Emma's case. After Marcus left, Maya and Patricia sat in the living room, surrounded by boxed wedding presents and the detritus of Emma's shattered dreams. I should have told her, Maya said quietly. The moment I saw that wedding invitation, I should have picked up the phone and told her everything. Patricia was quiet for a long moment. Why didn't you? Maya considered the question seriously. Because I was ashamed. Because I didn't want anyone to know how stupid I'd been. Because I thought Derek had changed, that maybe he really did love Emma. And because you thought if Emma's relationship with Derek worked out, you'd never have to admit yours didn't? The insight was gentle but devastating. Maya nodded. I was protecting myself, not Emma. I told myself I was keeping her secret to spare her feelings, but really I was keeping it to spare mine. Patricia reached over and took Maya's hand. We all failed her, Maya. I was so thrilled that Emma was settling down, so proud of Derek's success, that I didn't want to look too closely. And your father suspected something but didn't push because he didn't want to upset the family dynamic. But I knew, Mom. I knew exactly who Derek was and what he was capable of, and I let Emma walk into that blindly. Patricia squeezed her hand. The question now is, how do we make it right? Maya looked around the living room, at the wedding presents that would never be used, at the family photos that would now always remind them of this betrayal, at the careful life her parents had built that was now touched by scandal and FBI investigations. I don't know if we can make it right. Emma may never forgive us. Then we focus on making it better. We help her rebuild her finances. We support her through the legal proceedings, and we accept that our family is going to look different from now on. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Emma. Don't try to contact me directly. If you need to communicate, go through Sophia. I'm not ready to talk to any of you yet. Maya showed the message to Patricia, who closed her eyes in pain. She's staying with Sophia indefinitely, Maya said. She's not coming home. Then we wait, Patricia said firmly. However long it takes, we wait. And we hope that someday she'll be ready to let us try to earn her forgiveness. Outside, Seattle's November rain had started, drumming against the windows like fingers tapping out a funeral march. Maya looked at the boxes of wedding gifts, crystal and china and silver meant to celebrate a love story that had never been real, and wondered if any of them would ever feel like a family again. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Emma, but she didn't come inside. She stood on the porch in the rain, looking small and vulnerable and utterly exhausted. I forgot something, she said when Maya opened the door. Emma walked past her into the living room, where Patricia rose hopefully from her chair. Emma, sweetheart. I'm not here to talk, Emma said firmly. I just need to get something. She walked to the mantel and picked up a framed photo, their family at last Christmas, all four of them smiling at the camera. Derek had taken the picture. Maya remembered how natural he'd seemed that day, how easily he'd fit into their family traditions. Emma stared at the photo for a long moment, then carefully removed it from the frame. She tore the picture in half, separating herself from the rest of the family, and handed the larger piece to Patricia. I need some time to figure out who I am without all of your secrets defining me, Emma said quietly. I don't know how long that's going to take. She pocketed her half of the photo and walked back toward the door. Emma, Maya called after her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Emma paused with her hand on the doorknob. I know you are, Maya, but sorry doesn't fix my credit score. Sorry doesn't give me back the year I spent planning a future with a lie. Sorry doesn't undo the damage. She looked back at her family one more time. Maybe someday sorry will be enough, but not today. The door closed behind her, leaving Maya and Patricia standing in their living room, holding half a family photo and wondering if they'd ever be whole again. 6 months later, Maya sat in the same coffee shop where Derek had begged for more time, waiting for Emma. The familiar sounds of Pike Place Market filled the space between them. Vendors calling out prices, tourists laughing, the eternal rhythm of Seattle going about its business. Emma looked different. Thinner, but stronger somehow. Her hair was shorter, more practical. The dreamy optimism that had always made her glow was gone, replaced by something harder, but more real. Thank you for meeting me, Emma said, sliding into the chair across from Maya. I know it's been a while. 6 months of silence. 6 months of communicating only through Sophia, of birthday cards returned unopened, of family dinners with an empty chair that felt like an accusation. How are you doing? Maya asked carefully. Better. The bankruptcy went through last month. My credit is destroyed, but the debt's gone. Emma stirred sugar into her coffee with deliberate precision. I'm living in a studio apartment in Fremont, teaching at a different school. Starting over, I guess. Maya wanted to ask about Derek's trial, about the money Emma might recover, about whether she was dating anyone new. Instead, she waited. The FBI recovered most of your $300,000, Emma said. Marcus told Sophia, who told me. I'm glad. I don't care about the money anymore. Emma's laugh was brittle. That's easy to say when you're getting it back. The words stung, but Maya absorbed them without flinching. You're right. I'm sorry. I've been in therapy, Emma said abruptly, trying to understand how I could have been so blind, so trusting. Dr. Chen says I wasn't stupid. I was a victim of sophisticated manipulation. But it's hard to believe that when you feel like such a fool. Maya recognized the self-doubt in her sister's voice, the same doubt that had kept her silent for 3 years. You weren't a fool, Em. Derek was a professional. He'd been doing this for years. Maybe. But I also think I wanted to believe in the fairy tale so badly that I ignored red flags. The way he never talked about his family, how he always paid in cash, the fact that his stories never quite added up. Emma met Maya's eyes. I ignored the same things you ignored. I should have warned you. Yes, you should have. Emma's voice was steady, matter of fact. But I've been thinking about why you didn't, and I understand it better now. Shame makes us do stupid things. It makes us protect ourselves instead of the people we love. Maya felt tears building behind her eyes. I was so ashamed of falling for his lies that I let you fall for them too. We both fell for them, Maya. The only difference is, you fell first. They sat in silence, watching tourists haggle over salmon and flowers. The market's energy swirled around them, indifferent to their small family tragedy. Mom asks about you constantly, Maya said. Dad, too. They miss you. I miss them, too. But I'm not ready for family dinners yet. Too many ghosts in that house. Emma reached across the table and touched Maya's hand briefly, the first physical contact they'd had in 6 months. But I'm ready for this. For us to try again. Slowly. Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. Coffee once a month. Emma continued. No family talk, no Derek talk. Just sisters figuring out who we are without all the secrets. I'd like that. Emma stood to leave, then paused. Maya? The next time someone you love is about to make a terrible mistake, tell them, even if it's hard, even if it hurts. The truth always comes out eventually, and it's better coming from someone who loves you. Maya watched her sister walk away through the market crowds. Smaller now, but somehow more substantial. Emma was right. They were both starting over, learning to build something real from the ruins of their beautiful lives. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. How did it go? She typed back, like the beginning of something honest. For the first time in years, that felt like enough. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.